I'm Tom Wujek, co-host of Buffalo After Dark. Founded by Matthew Keeler, Dishin is a Buffalo-based fashion label focusing on continuous experimentation in hockey. Their work consists of products, content, and experiences that inspire creativity. Playful curation provides energy that sparks a unique perspective and an ideology around seeing the game differently. Now you can save. Log on to justdishin.com and use promo code WUJEK at checkout. You'll save 10% on all of your purchases. That is spelled W-U-J-E-K. Dishin has built an influential following devoted to the infusion of creative expression through high-quality goods and tasteful collaboration. If you love creative products that push the boundaries, check out Dishin. Visit their website at justdishin.com.
This is Buffalo's Uncensored Sports Show. You're watching Buffalo After Dark.
Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, December 13th. And of course, that basically means in 2 days from now, this motherfucker is going to be living in my house for 5 days. How's it going?
Oh, God. Yeah, that we're going to have so much fucking fun. Oh, man. What's going on, Tom? How are you?
Not bad, man. Just enjoying a fairly quick week already. So nothing too crazy. I mean, got the Bills game this coming Sunday, which, I mean, I'm glad we beat the Chiefs in the way we did. And thank you, Kadarius Toney, for epically screwing your team over, which we'll talk about that in a moment.
Oh, God.
But no, it'll be a good time. We've got some stuff planned for the weekend, and you get to see one of the OGs that was on this show back in season 1. So
Hell yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that are looking to meet me and when I'm on this trip to Buffalo. And then, Vinny Tarcasio is going to meet me for the very first time in person. Trevor Howard's going to meet me in person for the very first time. Who else is going to meet me? Obviously you. I mean, you've seen me.
Obviously, I've seen you a bunch of times. I mean, my girlfriend's probably going to meet you for the first time. So
Oh yeah, Dez. Yeah, that's another one. No, there's a lot of people who are probably excited to see me. And then you get to meet my buddy Chris Millman, who's going to be coming up with me. And I hate to bring it up that he is a Cowboys fan. So chances are, he's going to be bombarding me all weekend long about the Cowboys. So yeah, I'm excited for it. But, it's going to be all fun and games at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. So of course it'll be a good time, and of course if you're in the Buffalo area and find us around, feel free to say hi. We're easy
Absolutely.
to find, so it's a good time. And of course, with that being said, we want you to join in on the show. So if you want to give us a call, 929-205-6099, or you can join us in the Facebook chat, and we'll be here for about the next hour or so. And let's kick it off because it was Kadarius Toney that totally screwed his own team. The nice little pass from Travis Kelce to Toney, except here's the one thing. Kansas City Chiefs fans are saying, oh, he wasn't offside. His toe was right on the line. It turns out, if you look at the aerial picture, he was at least a yard offsides almost, and it was like total encroachment. So, of course, what happened? The Bills dodged one on that. They actually did play fairly well for the most part. There are some things they need to clean up, but it was a 20-17 win against the Chiefs, which brings us to 7-6. Chiefs fall to 8-5. And I can say for the most part, here's the good thing. We dominated the first half. Second half, the Chiefs came back. I'm like, defense, you got to give a full 60 minutes here, guys. You got to give a full 60 minutes. But then if anyone saw the unedited video of Mahomes bitching to Josh Allen after the fact, talking about, oh, it's fucking terrible they called that. They're supposed to give a warning. Well, one, the refs ain't supposed to do anything except for call plays. Two, if anyone should be complaining, it should be the Bills for how we got screwed against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, there's a lot to that I can justify. Number one, obviously, I've mentioned it before a handful of times. I was at that Eagles game, and that should have been a penalty on Hassan Reddick at the time of that play. That's number one. Number two, as far as Kansas City goes, it's nice to know for once that the Bills are on the right side of history in this game, considering all the other times that they played the Chiefs in the past, whether it's in in the regular season or in Buffalo or in the playoffs in Arrowhead, doesn't matter the location. Every single time that they played the Chiefs, they always found a way to get themselves in a situation where they would be bound to get screwed. And sure enough, the Bills for once get a break. And the thing that's really sad is that the game with the win, regardless, um, all the credit away from the game from the Bills has been completely depleted because of this fucking degenerates that are whining and bitching and moaning about the loss, saying that play was too cool. Can you just at least let us have this? And the ref said, nope, that was offside. Where? We wanted it ourselves. So
Right. And then Mahomes saying, you just messed up greatness.
yeah, really. And then he has the audacity to say, that was a great play, and that's going to ruin the legacy of Travis Kelce's career in the Hall of Fame. Like, what are you bitching about? He's going to the Hall of Fame in a few years.
Right. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, more than likely.
Brittany and I talked about this since Sunday. We've talked about this excessively to the point where we were both saying, the way the Chiefs handled this situation was so poorly. It's insane. It was so incompetently bad by the Chiefs that they made the Buffalo Bills look humble in comparison. And it's not to say that the Bills have their flaws. I mean, they ran into one over the week about the whole 9/11 comments that Sean McDermott made at the time, saying I'm using the terrorist attack as a metaphor. He apologized. He admitted it. And they used that game as fuel. And that was enough to piss off the Kansas City Chiefs. So one distraction is out of the window. That's completely done at this point. But then you have to turn your direction to the Chiefs, and which they've embarrassed themselves, like, into the point where you're the face of the NFL. You're the new golden child of the NFL, and everyone knows it. And they're probably the most blowhard team since the Brady era with the Patriots all those years ago. And then here's Patrick Mahomes throwing a bitch fit. For what? Because you didn't have that awesome setup play that was ruined by Kadarius Toney of all people?
Right. If anything, Bishop Kadarius Toney for being offsides. I mean, oh God. I actually threw a comment on the Fox on the Fox NFL Facebook, and I swear to God, I had like at least probably 75 to like 80 replies right off of it. And it was funny. The Kansas City Chiefs fans were complaining about it.
What did you say?
I talked about how it was so easy to see Kadarius Toney being a yard off sides, and it's like something they call every day. The delusional Chiefs fans are like, oh, he wasn't offsides. It's like, what game were you watching? And then everybody else from other teams were like, Chiefs fan, what are you watching? It was clear that he was completely offsides, and actually someone showed like an aerial view, and it shut up some of them. And it's like, well, simple. Your receiver Kadarius Toney sucks. Number one. Number two, Kansas City has no wide receiver number one. It's all wide receiver number two. So there's no consistent target. Kadarius Toney sucked in the game before, which cost them a play. So, I mean, the problem is Kadarius Toney.
But I think generally speaking, though, I think Kadarius Toney at most has cost the Chiefs at least 3 losses this year, including my favorite one. I mean, this is a new low for Kadarius Toney. We can admit that at this point.
Are you talking about the one about Green Bay?
No, not that one. I'm talking about the game opening night in September. This was 3 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
Against the Detroit Lions, where he had 5 dropped passes. 5 in one game. And gained no sympathy from the NFL. He became an utter joke ever since they won that Super Bowl. It's always been about, hey, check out the Super Bowl ring I just happened to win because I got traded from a shitty Giants team. And then all of a sudden he goes to Kansas City, he's crowned a hero, and then 9 months later in the new season, yeah, we're going to win the Super Bowl again. And all of a sudden, Chiefs fans are now watching what they paid for. Like, yeah, he has a ring. Yes, they won the Super Bowl, but Kadarius Toney wasn't the main reason that you won the Super Bowl to begin with. Exactly. It's the fact that the dude was utter ass and he was talentless since the moment he was drafted. And the Giants got incredibly lucky within getting rid of his ass a year after his rookie deal and goes to Kansas City. And he's already cost them 3 or 4 games. The Lions game back in September, the Packers game 2 weeks ago, and the Bills game. So to say that Kadarius Toney is a piled piece of shit is just a compliment to compiled pieces of shit.
Right. And actually we got some early people in the chat here. So my buddy Brad Farnham, who I used to hang out with up here in the Lockwood area, who's down in Kentucky and Indiana now. He's like, how come the illegal formation is being ignored as well?
You know, that's a good point because I actually noticed that somebody actually made that comment with the whole illegal formation thing. So if anything, the Chiefs should have been called at least 25 yards. Another one, and I could have sworn before I get to this part, was Juwan Taylor was in that play. And my dad and I were watching that game during that legal formation at the same time as the Kadarius Toney penalty. That's the one that probably distracted a lot of people. But I was watching the game with my dad because my wife was wrapping Christmas presents and she said, go upstairs. And by upstairs, I mean, I had to drive 10 minutes down the road. And my wife was going to meet me there. So I go to my parents' house. The game's on anyway. And my dad and I were watching the play when Juwan Taylor got caught. And the comment I made to my dad, and he laughed hysterically, he said, and I basically said, what's a Chiefs game without Juwan Taylor committing another offsides penalty or holding penalty? And he just starts laughing. And it's like, is that true? I'm like, he's been called like every single game this year for the Chiefs. He's just as worthless as Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, exactly. And then speaking of Vinny Torquezio, he's in the chat and he says, excited for wings on Friday.
Yay, Vinny, you get to finally meet me, you Italian fuck.
Hey Vinny, if you want to call in, we'll put you on. So
Vinny Cutlets. That's what we'll call you. Vinny Cutlets.
So yeah, but all together, I mean, just the way that Mahomes and Reed handled everything after the fact. And of course, the NFL is now investigating them and they're probably going to get fined for their comments, which good, they should.
They probably should.
Yeah. And a lot of people are saying they should. So, I mean, that being said, I mean, the bottom line is the Chiefs didn't do enough to win the game straight up. And that's how it finished out. And if they really wanted to try and win, they would have actually showed up in the entire first half.
Well, I should also mention something else is that Andy Reid tried to double down on this and justify the play. And he basically was told, and at least that's what he told the media. And he said that he was never given a warning by the officials. Like, first off, that's not the ref's job. The ref's job, as incompetent and corrupt as they are, their job is to play by the rules. And the Chiefs just became vulnerable to their bullshit. So you can't just be coddled just because you're a good team. I mean, yeah, we've had to deal with it with New England for 20 plus years, but that's done. That era's over. This is now.
Right.
But,
and the rest called the same thing at least 11 other times this season. So we can't say, oh, we just called it for the Chiefs. No, it's really been called all throughout.
And the other thing, too, I should mention is that there's also a rule book in the NFL that says that the refs do not have to give out warnings to any coach or players. I mean, if that were true, there wouldn't be no penalties in the NFL.
Right, exactly.
And then the other thing I should also mention as well, on top of all this, with the whole Andy Reid thing, is how Patrick Mahomes tried to once again triple down on it by basically saying, oh, we're trying to make a good influence on children. Who the fuck are you to say you're trying to influence children? If anything, you're a role model to 90% of the kids that want to play in the NFL someday, and you basically just spat all over their trust. So they're going to look at him and they're going to say, wow, Patty got really angry. Let me try that at my football game and see how that goes.
Yeah, exactly.
And
for anyone that wants to see the clip, we actually do have the bitch fit in our Facebook page and on our Twitter. So if you want to take a look at it, yeah, and pretty much anywhere else. But
the point is that the Chiefs have put themselves in a vulnerable position to the point where I think they're heading into a huge decline. And I'm not just talking about the roster. I'm talking about like the core as itself, because Travis Kelce was almost invisible the majority of the game, except for the one play where he tried to throw the bag-ended pass to Kadarius Toney, and obviously that backfired badly. I think it's more like they were more pissed off that they didn't get what they wanted, so they were trying to set up the coolest play in NFL history. Like, you know how arrogant they sound just from doing that?
Yeah, it's completely arrogant. All together.
Oh, yeah.
They're basically like, oh, we're the golden child of the NFL. Everyone else is supposed to bow down to us.
Yeah, literally. Like, who the fuck are they to tell people, hey, we want to bitch and moan about the refs because we had a play that was like really cool that got taken away from us. That's the only main excuse I've heard from these guys, not the fans, because they will try to justify it. But it's more of that the team as a whole is in a massive like turmoil. They have no receivers. Their run game is completely like debunked
Garbage.
because Isaiah Pacheco's injured. But the fact is that the Kansas City Chiefs, not only are they falling from grace, but the Denver Broncos, if you look at the wild card standings right now,
they're only one game back.
Exactly. They're only a game behind. And this is a big deal. So if Kansas City, for some reason, loses out, but the way they did, there's going to be some serious problems down the road.
Yeah, and their schedule does not get easier because other than, I mean, they have the New York Jets coming up, which
They don't have the Jets.
Oh wait.
No, they're playing they're playing the Broncos. No, they're playing the Raiders. They play the Chargers. They play the Patriots this Sunday. And there's another team in there. Cincinnati. Cincinnati. That's who it is.
Yeah, because I was thinking for some reason I thought they had Baltimore and I thought they had like Miami at some point, but
no, that's
might be thinking of something else.
Yeah, you're thinking of someone else. Kansas City has like Cincinnati on New Year's Eve. Then they have New England coming up. I think they have the Chargers again. I could be wrong. I know they play the Raiders. So chances are that Kansas City, if they're playing the way they are, then they're fucked. They're fucked. I mean, it's clear as day, and everyone can see their flaws.
Yeah, so basically they get the Patriots this coming Sunday. Then they do have the Raiders, then they have the Bengals, and then the Chargers to end out the season. So realistically, with what they have, I mean, who knows? I mean, the Patriots might shock the world, although they're an absolute shit team now. But then,
exactly if that happens.
Yeah, same here. But then, of course, they have the Raiders, and they've been playing better ever since they ended up firing McDaniels. So, I mean, there's a plus. Cincinnati, it could go either way. I mean, they still have a good run game, even with Berube being out. And then Los Angeles Chargers, well, unfortunately, Justin Herbert's done for the year. So,
well, let's put it this way. They could also put in their new quarterback, who, by the way, is named Easton Stick, which anybody who's an NHL fan in the early 2000s should know that was a product that Marty St. Louis used to have. And the name of the stick was called Easton. That was the name of the company.
Yeah.
And it was a hockey stick. So Easton Stick. What a name.
Yeah. And just think about it this way. The last 3 of 4 against the Chiefs, the Bills have beaten the Chiefs.
Yeah, in Arrowhead. And that's excluding the playoffs.
And we saw that last year when we were at Arrowhead and we won. So definitely good to see at least right now for what the Bills are doing. You got the big win that you needed. Now, of course, we have the Cowboys this week. We have beaten the Cowboys before. We just have to be prepared.
We'll definitely get to them a little bit later on because there's a lot that will need to be said. And that is, for one, I'm not going to say I'm confident because then I would just be jinxing myself, knock on wood. But all I'm saying is that I like where Buffalo is at right now. Everybody is saying that if they make the playoffs, and I think at this point they will, just based on how they've been performing. And they really turned it around after 3 games since firing Dorsey. That has so far been a blessing.
Offense has been 100 times better.
Oh, 100%. And it's been so much better. They beat the Jets.
Yep.
They almost beat the Eagles, and they beat the Chiefs. So that right there, I think that those 3 games, and I said this a few weeks ago, I want to see more out of him. And we saw that with the Kansas City game, and it proved to me right there that Joe Brady is going to win the job. And I think he's going to be the OC moving forward because they brought in somebody who is, I forget his name, Joe Mangas, I believe his name, Joe Mangas or something. He's from the UB, school. He's one of the coordinators there, but he's being brought in as like a consultant for the position at quarterback. So, no, it's going to be interesting how this plays out, but all signs are pointing that Brady's going to be the OC next year. I'll genuinely be surprised if they let him go.
Yeah, and I'm fine with Brady doing it, especially with what we're seeing the last 3. I mean, let's look at the offense altogether. Much more balanced than what it had been. We actually have a run game finally, which is good. James Cook is getting a lot of touches now, and he opened up the game with that touchdown where he was wide ass open in the backfield. So that actually worked out really well. Then on top of it, look at how basically we're utilizing the tight ends more. Kincaid is definitely proving his worth. Dawson Knox got some touches. He's right now day to day still with the injury, but at the same time, how about that one play in the fourth quarter when everyone thought that basically Allen was going to throw it away and he still ends up hitting the strike?
Oh my God.
That was greatness.
I still wonder how the hell he did that.
Same here. I'm like, how did you even figure out where to throw it when you're off your back foot and you basically are about to get your ass handed to you on the sideline?
If you want to look up the definition of hero ball plays, that's a good
hero
one to
ball.
show.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's a difference. It actually worked.
Right. And he's not having to do hero ball consistently like he was under Dorsey.
Right. And the other thing, too, is that still needs to be addressed. And I think it will at some point in the future, not this season, but the following year. I think that people are looking at the whole interception persona about Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And they're looking at that stat and they're saying, well, he sucks because he throws turnovers. Like, do you also realize that he leads the league in touchdowns?
Yeah. And he has the most total touchdowns out of any QB since he's been in the league.
Absolutely. He has more than like Dak. He has more than Patrick Mahomes. He has more than Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts. He has more touchdowns than all those guys.
Yeah, more rushing touchdowns than any other QB right now also. And how about that rushing touchdown he had?
Oh yeah,
where he was carrying like 5 defenders on his back.
Yeah. Even though Brady's been an interim, I'm very, very happy that they are utilizing him to what we've been hoping for them to do, which is let Josh be Josh. And I'm really, really happy that they were able to let him do what he needs to do to win games. And it shows. This is what happens, Ken. This is what happens when you let a franchise quarterback do what the hell he wants. Let the guy run. He will do it for you, and he will get you those extra 10, 15 yards if he has to. Exactly. Brady let him go. He's now a running bull. He's literally going over the place. He's getting 25 yards on the run. He's throwing 30, 40-yard passes. He's setting up plays for receivers to get open for touchdowns. It's all orchestrated. It's becoming a thing. It's great to see, but there's still 4 games left to be played, and the big one that's coming up, and I said this 3 weeks ago when they played the Eagles, we're back at it again. They're playing the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm going to say this. I'm not as scared of Dallas as I was of Philly.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion. If I'm a Bills fan, I feel very highly confident. Oh my God.
How's it going, Luffy?
God damn it.
Hey,
Luffy.
I thought I'd make an appearance. I haven't been on here in weeks.
Hey, how's it going, man? Other than I know your Carolina Panthers are absolutely shit in the bed right now.
Oh God.
Hey, you know what? They're doing great.
You gotta worry about Dave Tepper.
The defense looks pretty solid. They haven't given up over 300 yards in all year, but they're still 1-12.
Sure. Oh God. Yep. And you also have your first overall. Oh, never mind.
No, we don't get that anymore.
No, I'm kidding. What's going on, guy? How are you?
I'm good, man.
That's good.
Working way too much.
No,
hey, I should mention this now before I forget. You better get to Toronto on Saturdays. I'm going to be there.
Not going to be there, bud. Sorry. Going to the Dominican.
Oh, my God. You suck.
I told you this. I told you I was going to the Dominican.
Oh, my God.
There you go. Get yourself some Dominican weed while you're there.
I don't think that bunk-ass weed.
Yeah. So before you dropped in, we were just talking about the Bills-Cowboys game, and things are looking pretty good for what it's being set up to be. And the Bills right now are on a roll. They beat KC. Mahomes is whining like a bitch, and they got the Cowboys coming to town on Sunday.
You actually think you're going to win that?
Well, I mean, it's possible. It's in Buffalo.
I don't know, man. I'm telling you, Dallas is going to be a team to beat.
I mean, they beat the Chiefs. I mean, I know that's a completely different animal, but as of right now, but Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes by themselves are remotely impossible to beat for everybody else.
Well, same time they beat the Eagles. I don't remember you guys beating the Eagles.
I was at the game, remember?
I'm just saying, I don't remember you guys beating them.
Well, I mean, they did go to overtime with them.
Did they beat them though, or
No, of course not. No, but again, if they could do that with the Eagles, I can't see how they wouldn't be able to do it with the Cowboys.
you better contain Micah Parsons? Is all I gotta say.
I think they will at some point. I mean,
Oh.
there's definitely room for improvement. And speaking of improvement, by the way, can we talk about what the fuck happened in Miami on Monday night?
Oh God.
I love it. I love it. It looks so good that like 3 minutes left in the game,
An epic
and they're
collapse.
all like celebrating on the sidelines. I'm like, I hope this comes back to bite you in the ass. And
Mhm.
sure enough, came back to bite her in the ass.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I was
Oh my
watching the game. I was
Good
watching
job,
the game
Will
with my buddy.
Levis.
I was watching the game, and I was like, everyone I was watching it with was like, "Oh, this is a wash. Miami's got this one." I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if Will Levi turned into Superman right now in the
And he
3 minutes
did.
and fucking won the game? Wouldn't it be crazy? And they're like, "Yeah, that'll never fucking happen." Well,
Wow, look at that.
oh,
And
hold my
Yeah.
beer.
I'll tell
Hold
you
my
this.
beer.
I'll tell you this. Dolphins fans were so cocky with the last 5 minutes of that game. They were like AFC East champions. They were ready to throw the parade. And then they were all like getting ready to celebrate. And the next thing you know, the Titans score a touchdown. Dolphins don't convert on third down on their second drive. Then it's another touchdown for Tennessee. And it just became hell on earth. And there's even a stat out there, and I'll actually read this to you. And it says the Miami Dolphins are the first team in NFL history to lose a game in regulation while winning by 14 points or more with less than 3 minutes left on the clock. But before that game, they were 17,561 and 0 before this game.
Yeah. Wasn't it like the stupidest stat ever saying like there was like 17,000 wins and zero the last time
Something
someone
crazy.
won like that or something like that? Something
Yeah,
stupid stat.
like that's embarrassing. I mean, and I love how this narrative about the Dolphins this year has been, oh, they're so good. They're going to be better than the Bills. And then, of course, we all said, give it time. They're going to collapse somehow. They're going to find a way to fuck this up.
Mhm.
And sure enough, it came early. So this is the traditional December collapse in South Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and plus, like if you watch the game from start to finish, the announcers at the start were like, "Oh, Titans have yet to win a game on the road or whatever." But I'm thinking to myself, like, they eventually have to win. They're not going to lose every fucking road game. They're going to win one,
Right.
right? They have to win. So if any game is going to be any game, it's going to be this game. And I said it right from the start. I was like, watch, it's going to be an upset. Upset.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you bet on that game?
No, absolutely not.
Oh my God, dude. Imagine if you actually betted on that money and you would have been like, I'm gonna bet $10 and probably win it for like over 2 grand, and then the Titans come back and you end up becoming rich. Could you imagine if you actually did that? That would have probably been the most hilarious outcome in any betting suspect at that point. That would just be hilarious.
I just
Yeah.
don't think the odds would be high enough for a regular season game. If it was
Mhm.
playoffs, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that, but it's like the Dolphins, holy shit.
Right.
Like, what the fuck did you do?
Right. Well, it also didn't help that Tyreek Hill ended up hurting his ankle and that they lost their center due to blown ACL. So that also
Oh,
didn't help. But
oh yeah, definitely. But I don't know. It's like people are really starting to doubt Dolphins at this point. And it's like, well, yeah, you should have thought of that in the beginning of the year after they got blown out by Buffalo. So here's the thing. Miami's next 4 games are so critical that it's going to put the Bills in a really good position to win the division. So put it this way. This is Miami's schedule. They have the Jets coming up in South Florida. I actually expect the Jets to win that game because it's the fucking Jets. And then they play Dallas, they play Baltimore, and then they play Buffalo. That's their schedule
Ooh.
order. And if you look at Buffalo, they play Dallas, the Chargers, the Patriots in Buffalo, and then the Dolphins.
I was gonna say, Miami's got a shit schedule the next 4 games.
I don't know. I prefer the Bills schedule over Miami's. That's rough.
Yeah. Like literally we got through the rough stretch.
Like,
Yeah,
thank
like, you
God,
got-
honestly. But I mean, there's really one tall task, and that's the Cowboys. I mean, yeah, they're playing sky high football right now. I mean, I get that, but Dallas is not the prettiest team on the road.
No, definitely
No,
not.
and everybody knows Dallas is that type of team to go balls to the wall in the season and one and done.
Yep. Yep. And basically only besides Dak, the only 2 people they've got are Micah Parsons and Tony Pollard. And Tony Pollard didn't look all completely great this past week either.
He's been really shit in the bed for me lately, the motherfucker in fantasy.
Really?
Yeah, he hasn't really got me that many fucking points.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. But no, but what I was gonna say is that it just like this year, generally speaking, the Cowboys have just been basically what they've been doing. It feels like it's the same team as last year, but for some reason, the only difference is Ezekiel Elliott's not on the team. So really, the Cowboys, I feel like, are just the same. They're bound to choke at some point, but I'm not going to sit here and be braggadocious about this game because we really don't know the outcome. But odds in terms of history with the Cowboys in Buffalo, it's not doing very much in their favor considering it's in the cold and they don't play in the cold.
Yeah, I don't know. Dak
Yeah.
Prescott and his magic little hands. I don't know.
Yeah, true story. But there's actually 2 other quick things we wanted to cover on the football side also before we jump into hockey because there's some good hockey news today too. But how about the story that was going around, and TSN.ca had this, and then also Yahoo Sports had this, but it supposedly is going to be Belichick's last season with the Patriots because apparently there will be some type of mutual parting of the ways.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? It doesn't matter because he's just going to go to a college team, get some stupid amount of money to coach football, like Matt Rule. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave the Panthers and go get this stupid ass fucking contract, getting paid by the Panthers still, and now he's getting paid by whatever university he's fucking coached for.
Right. Or how much do you want to bet that the Vegas Raiders will bring him in?
I would not bet that at all.
Right.
You know what's funny?
Especially
what's
after
funny?
they fucked up on McDaniels.
I would honestly find it hilarious that if he were to leave New England, which I think from what it sounds like he will be leaving, but it would be hilarious if he went to the Chargers.
Or the Panthers.
Oh God, dude, could you
Oh.
imagine?
Can you imagine him and Tepper? Oh my God.
Oh, they would murder each other.
Yeah.
Well, if Tepper decides to be disingenuous and roll out the red carpet for Belichick to go to Charlotte, then fire away.
You know what? How
That's
much worse can it get? Really? How much worse can it get?
Oh, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it's bad enough. It's already hit rock bottom, but I guess it really comes down to like, will Tepper actually keep his hands off the fucking team? Because I feel like ever since he bought the team, it's just been just shit after shit after shit. And I feel so bad for you, dude. Because ever since I've dragged into this, not that it's anybody's fault here, but it's like the Panthers just don't know when to stop. It's like you trade your entire future for one guy who's not even being worked out thus far. You have no O-line, you have no receivers, and
That's
you
what I
have
mean.
no
He
defense.
He can't play. The defense is not that bad. Go look at our defense.
Yeah,
Again,
defense isn't the problem.
One of the good stats to look up is the Carolina Panthers haven't given up over 300 yards all year. In 13 games, they haven't given up over 300 yards to QB and throwing yards.
Not even against like Miami.
No, look it up.
Oh,
look
their
it up.
defense has
They
been pretty
given up
good.
300 yards, over 300 yards in 13 games all season.
Hmm.
Yet we still fucking end up losing. Yet And I say it again, I've said it right from the start of the season. You picked the wrong fucking QB, you fucking idiots.
Right. How about Tepper saying, "Oh, we wanted we wanted the other QB. We wanted Stroud."
He did. He wanted Stroud, and fucking dipshit fucking overruled him, and he's like, okay.
Like, that's what I don't understand. He's the GM won, like Federer wanted to draft Stroud, and then Tepper became the hands-on GM. It's like, if you go out and tell the public, "Oh, we were going to take CJ Stroud," why didn't you take CJ Stroud when he was available? You literally traded like 5 of your assets for that one pick.
It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter what QB you have in that fucking position right now. They're not doing shit. There's no way they're doing shit.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. You put Tom Brady in his prime in that fucking situation. He ain't doing shit.
He'll get murdered with the line how bad it is.
You can't get touchdowns if you're getting sacked 7, 8 times a game. You can't.
Yeah, and especially if you're having to get rid of the ball in less than 2 seconds.
On average, dude, look at there's a stat. On average, in every game over all the games this far for this season for the Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young is getting an average of 6. He's getting sacked 6 times a game.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you ain't gonna win with that.
How can you do anything? You can't play out of the pocket. You can't fucking scramble or replay. You have no receivers that can, like, other than Thielen. Who the fuck are you throwing to? And then when you're scrambling, how are you supposed to throw? How are you supposed to run a play if you're getting collapsed every time? The whole pocket's collapsing. You can't blame the kid. I can't blame the kid and say he's terrible, because you haven't seen him at his best, because he can't.
Right.
Like, that's just sad overall. Like, I really do wish that the Panthers would actually bring in people who actually know how to, run a team, or like at least know how to coach. But who knows? I mean, if Tepper actually gets his head out of his ass for once, maybe things could actually happen in Charlotte. But I just don't know right now. I mean, they're just like, it can't get any worse than where it is right now. I mean, you're literally rock bottom right now.
We can't you can't have an O-line that, like, the whole O-line is injured. All the starters are pretty much injured, or have been injured since like week 2. You got no Brian Burns. You got no fucking JC Horn. You don't have anybody. You're basically running a team on half injured Adam Thielen and fucking Chuba Hubbard. Oh my god.
Yeah.
What a star fucking lineup.
Yeah, and you don't have CMC because, of course, they got traded last year. So,
well, fuck, I don't want to talk about it. It still makes me sad. But I'm just saying, like, you can't run an offense on having no offense. Like, I've never seen a team, like, I follow them on Twitter, and I've never seen so many updates about how many people in one day they're signing to the practice squad from all these random retards out of fucking every team possible just to make an O-line.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, they're probably like the most injured team right now out of anybody.
If you look at the signings of, like, players to practice squads, and then within 5 minutes they're like on the starting O-line because they have nobody. Like, they haven't even worked these guys out, and they're putting them on the O-line because they got nobody.
Yeah, that is just a bad spot. But speaking of players that are available, Matt Araiza is now available because guess what? He's not being sued anymore. So I wanted to talk about that because that story came out yesterday. So basically, it was proven once and for all it was nothing but a money grab, because apparently at this point, Matt Araiza has been dropped from the lawsuit. It was determined he was not involved. And basically, this woman and this prosecutor basically derailed his career for 16 months. So from what the settlement is that the girl gets nothing from Araiza, which she shouldn't. Girl gets zero. And on top of that, Matt Araiza did drop the defamation suit against her, which I personally wouldn't have done, but he's not going to sue her. But it sucks to be the prosecutor, because his ass is going to get nailed, because he is continuing to sue the prosecutor for that basically it's malicious prosecution and defamation.
Huh. Well, drop the balls in that, didn't you, Bills? Could have a good kicker on your hands right there.
Well, at some point, something had to happen. I mean,
at least fucking blowing kicks hands left, right, and center.
Right. Well, I mean, if the Bills bring him back, awesome, but I don't think it's going to happen at this point.
They can't. He'd be a pariah, right? You can't bring him back.
No, I don't think so. I could see him on like a team that could really use a punter. Like I could see like the Eagles could possibly use Araiza. I mean, they're already a juggernaut on their own, but they could really use one because Brady Mann's not that great. But
Juggernaut. Eagles aren't anything close to a juggernaut. They're mediocre as fuck, and I'm pretty sure the fucking 49ers and the Cowboys proved that point.
49ers exposed them big time. They just straight up
mediocre.
handed their ass to them.
All you gotta do is like pressure that mediocre fucking quarterback, and he doesn't know what to do. He fucking runs and hides. He's a fucking running back. He's not a fucking quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
well, I mean, to be fair, the 49ers have been kicking everyone's ass this year.
Oh, I'm just saying, you get exposed for what you are when you go up actually against a team.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of teams got exposed this week. Like Kansas City got exposed for their fucking bullshit with Patrick Mahomes whining like a bitch. He's basically
Well, come
Sidney
on,
Crosby.
he did come out and apologize and say, "Yeah, I might have overreacted." When Josh Allen came up to him and like shake his hand, and he was like, "Fucking reps are deciding games. The refs have been deciding games for you guys for fucking years, and have been benefiting you up until this point."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really. And then it's like it's like, no, go ahead.
I said it fucking sucks to be on the other shoe for once, eh?
Yeah.
It's like congratulations, you are now the other 31 NFL teams.
Yeah. Like the refs didn't pay him enough that game, I guess.
Yeah, seriously. Either that or trying to do some point shaving. Who knows? But
What is this, longest yard?
Yeah,
One's-
point shaving. Well, you know what? There's lots of proof to saying the NFL is rigged, and sometimes I actually believe it. So
Yeah. Yeah, we could go back to that Philly game that the Bills were in. It's like with that horse collar tackle that turned into intentional grounding. So.
yeah, like you know what? I ripped my own shirt as I was falling, and I
Yeah.
dove in on purpose and hit the turf. I then got up, and I was the best actor ever, being
Yeah.
like, "Look at my shirt."
Yeah, and then there you go, and then you get nailed 10 yards.
Yeah, like what the fuck, man?
Oh, that is just straight up brutal.
Gonna
But
cover the spread, right, Vegas?
yeah,
Cover that spread.
exactly. And Katie's like, huh? She's in the chat. And she's like, oh, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is mad. Yeah. If you go into Twitter or our page, you'll see the uncensored version of what he said to Josh Allen after the game. So,
Yeah, he was crying like a little bitch.
yeah, exactly. And then, of course, him trying to be held back while then his own team having to hold him back from trying to go after the refs. It's hilarious.
Should have let it happen. It would
Yeah.
have been a good thing for fucking what it goes to show, you know, professionalism, I guess.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
that's supposed to be your number one QB in the league, and he's fucking acting like a little bitch. So
Yeah. Then, of course, his wife had to say something on Twitter and his brother after the fact.
Dude,
And-
fuck them. Seriously.
Exactly.
who cares what
Exactly.
his brother? Like who the fuck is his brother other than a nobody?
Yeah, exactly. Other
He's
than
not special. The only thing that makes him special is literally making TikToks, which doesn't even make him apply to special.
right.
The only thing
Exactly.
that makes him famous is the fact that he's Patrick Mahomes' brother. Other than that, he'd be irrelevant.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Although
But-
it'd be funny to see if Taylor Swift writes something about how bad things were in that game afterwards.
Oh God, yes, please do. I hope to God. You know what? I actually regret not putting Taylor Swift's angry face as my my background for this episode.
I hope she makes a song about it.
That would be hilarious.
Personally, I can't wait for that to happen. If she were to make a song about her whiny attitude during that game, and next thing you know, they don't win the Super Bowl, they're gone.
Hey, you don't want to offend the Swifters.
Fuck the Swifties.
And you know what? What's her name in the chat? Is she a Swifter?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm no
Kitty,
Swifty. I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, what's her name in the chat? Is she a Swifty?
Yeah, let's
Ooh,
find out. Katie.
I hope she's not a Swifty. Get the fuck out of here.
I couldn't even tell you who's a Swifty at this point. Like I have a few coworkers that are Swifties, but I'm not gonna get into that. But as far as just generally
Fucking
speaking for
ridiculous.
this game, holy shit, 22 billion Swifties just walked out of the game just pissed off.
Oh yeah.
You know what? One thing that's not good for football. Taylor Swift.
No, At some point, it's going to
Exactly.
collapse.
Well, it's going to happen.
And,
because she's
and
gonna-
Katie said she likes a couple of Taylor Swift songs, but she is not a Swiftie.
Thank God.
Good. You're allowed to stay in the chat now.
So, oh God, but yeah, good job, Kansas City. You basically wrote your own death in that game. So,
Yep.
so with that being said, what we'll do, I mean, we're over the halfway mark. Let's just continue. We'll go right into hockey, and of course, some interesting things. The breaking news from last night: Craig Berube got fired. So, and all I can say is, okay,
Why though?
St. Louis. It's like, what are you thinking?
Didn't they put Jake Verona on fucking waivers too or something?
It is something stupid. It's like
They
how
put
you,
Jake
it's like
Verona on fucking waivers.
it's like what are you trying to do? Tank the rest of the season or something?
Yeah, I think they're I don't know, they're not having a good time right now.
No, I think at this point, the way it's looking, I feel like the Blues, they don't want to admit they're going to become the Canucks. Because remember that one time or several years ago, the Canucks were openly admitting that they did not want to go into a rebuild, and
Mhm.
yet they were so horrible for a good handful of years until this year, and then they pretty much just kept adding and adding without subtracting. So
Mhm.
that's literally the St. Louis Blues right now. The Blues are in that phase where they're in denial that their window for the Stanley Cup is closed. So ever since 2019, the team has just completely fallen apart. Binnington is nowhere near as good as he was at the time because nobody had film on him. That's how he got a cup. And when you become a star goalie in the NHL, people are gonna follow you and they're gonna say, "Well, you have flaws." So the same thing applies to here with Berube. I felt that Berube was the least of the team's issues. I just felt that the team as in general is getting older and they're just becoming not as good as they were. And they had to eventually retool and get younger. But Doug Armstrong had his like literally Doug Armstrong had his foot up his ass the entire day. And he basically just said, nope, we're going to just rebuild. We're not going to bother. We're just going to just keep adding with subtracting. That's basically what they did. I mean, look what they just did. They traded Robert Bortuzzo to the Islanders because the Islanders have no.
That was great.
They literally trade that guy to the Islanders. Like, thanks, St. Louis.
Oh, you just made the Islanders 100 times better.
Yeah, most certainly.
Oh,
And then
Oh.
and then again, Doug Armstrong's like, no, we're not rebuilding.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know
man.
what? You have to be in denial until it can't deny anymore. So that's probably what he's doing right now.
Right. So how about this as the interim coach, Drew Bannister?
I
Yeah.
don't really know anything about him.
Nobody does. Nobody knows who Drew Bannister is.
All right.
A banister is like a thing that goes around the stairs.
Yeah. Yeah. From what it looks like, it's our AHL coach. So
Well, that explains it.
which I've never even heard of Bannister. So I'm like, who the hell is this guy? But
There's a lot of what the fuck coaches in the NHL this year. Like St. Louis with Drew Bannister, and then it was like Pascal Vincent, who was supposed to be in for Mike Babcock, but he got fired. And then you
Right.
had Jay Woodcroft get, cut by the Oilers pretty early. And
Mhm.
since then, I will give Edmonton credit. They've been playing a hell of a lot better lately.
They won.
Yeah.
They won like 7 or 8 straight or something.
Yeah, some number
managed to
like
catch,
that.
Yeah, managed to catch their game on TNT the other night. And they ended up winning. So
McDavid's gone caught fire. Oh, he's going to anyway, but now he's like on a massive tear.
yeah,
27 points or something, and fucking he's like top 10 in the league for points right now. Even
Yeah.
though at the start of the season, like first 10 games, he wasn't even relevant. All of a sudden, he's like in the pack, number 10.
yeah. And surprisingly, Stuart Skinner's not playing as bad either.
It's
Well,
like, what did Edmonton what did the Oilers do to even get to this point? That's what I want to figure out.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they always do. They're still going to end up an epic failure. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be like last year and the year before, and like, oh, McDavid and Draisaitl fucking 150 points, and we're going to fucking tear shit up. Oh, yeah, we fucking out in the first round.
Mhm. Yeah. Might have had a little bit of smelling salts or something too, just to kind of wake them up. But
Or maybe they're smoking crack. Who knows?
yeah, there is always that. So, but in either case, I mean, besides them, Sabres have been up and down lately, and that's actually something that's interesting because, of course, I'm taking this guy here to a Sabres game on Tuesday night when we play Columbus. But with everything that's been going on, so Sabres ended up getting a good win against Arizona, which I mean, I was expecting that we would. But how about the trade from Columbus, where we basically gave them nothing? Eric Robinson's actually showing up and actually playing pretty well.
Which is I'll gladly take a player who's contributing right away. I'll take it.
Yeah, but for how long?
Maybe I give it 2 weeks.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, I know that's pretty harsh, but I give it a minimum 2 weeks. Unless he just somehow turns into like PK God or something like that when they play on their unit, and then somehow becomes like the new Brendan Shanahan, which is not gonna happen, but that would be pretty funny if um Columbus trades Robinson and then he becomes like their new Brendan Shanahan. That would just be bottom line hilarious.
Yeah.
I got something we should talk about real quick.
Sure.
Let's talk about how classy the New York Islander fans are.
Oh, tell me, please. Indulge me.
Let's talk about how classy they are. The fact that John Tavares comes back to their stadium after how many years? 6 years. 6 years. And you're classless fucking bunch of fucking idiots decide to boo him the whole game. The whole game. Just boo him. After 6 years, you guys still haven't lived on the fact that he wanted to go to a better place than a shithole in Long Island. And not only that, the more classless thing was when JT scores his 1,000th point. His 1,000th point. They're still booing. That's how classless and shitty the Islander fucking fan base is. Shitty as fuck. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Fucking ashamed of yourselves.
First
a player
off,
scores 1,000 points, and just because you're so bitter that 6 years ago he left your fucking team, you're gonna sit there and boo him on a milestone? You guys are fucking classless clowns. Clowns.
okay, I'm gonna step right into this situation. First of all, I got over the whole John Tavares situation. That was years ago. I was unfortunately not at the game, so I couldn't make it anyway. But I will say this. I went to the first one in this first game back as a Leaf. That game I went to, and it's no different than what it was the first time around. And the whole context of John Tavares leaving for the Leafs is simply from him basically lying and trying to, upbeat the Islander fans by basically saying, hey, I'm going to sign with the Islanders. I don't want to be traded. Please do not trade me. I don't want anything to do with it. But the really sad reality is Mike Bossy, 6 months before the move, basically said the Islanders should trade him. And everyone looked at him like he was crazy. And then 6 months later, he says 180. Nope, I'm not signing with the Islanders. And then he goes to the Leafs. Could he have handled it better? I would have said so, yeah. But people felt very strongly about John Tavares here, and he was basically like their Michael Jordan. So people had very strong opinions about him when he was here, and he did a lot for the team since he was there. And I know they were bad, they didn't get very far. But here's the thing: the Islanders at that point, they could boo and rowdy all they want, but at the end of the day, his reputation with the Islanders for what he did will never change, and it will never waver until the day he retires. And that's just plain bottom line. They would do that with any former player that would betray them like that. Honestly, it's the equivalent when LeBron went to Miami from Cleveland. Nobody gave two shits about his reputation afterwards for what he's done for them at that time for 10 plus years. It's the matter of that he put so much on his back, and then yet he stabs them literally left them out to dry and bleed. And then he goes to Toronto where they were going to be a super team. And the last time I checked, the Islanders went 6 fucking playoff series without John Tavares. So yeah, you could cry me a river about how the Islander fans were saying, "Oh yeah, they're still bitter about it."
The guy gets 1,000 points, and you're gonna boo. You're gonna boo the guy on the ice after scoring 1,000 points, whether he's not on your team or not. That's still a fucking milestone. That not a handful of players make. A handful. Right? How many players do you have in the league that are still active that have 1,000 points?
Right, there's a handful of them that are in the league. Like, yeah, Tavares has a charitable moment in his career, sure, but
I liked what the Leafs did though. I like how the Leafs stuck it to him as soon as he got 1,000 career point on the tying goal. On the tying goal, 6 I love how Toronto cleared the benches. So when the refs came over and told him to get back in play, Tavares gave the ref gave him the finger.
And yeah,
Nice.
It was
and
the
then at the
best
end
thing
of the
I've seen all
day,
year. It was the best thing I've seen all year. And
yeah,
they
and then
played
at
the
the end of the
bench.
day, you still lost that game. So it doesn't really matter at this point if
You guys
Tavares
should have
gets
won.
booed
You
or
guys
gets a
should have.
thousand
You
points.
guys should have won that game. You fucking lost us. You gave us a point with 6 seconds left.
Right.
Yeah, they would have, but it still went into overtime. You were on the verge of losing that game. You tie it, and you still lose. It's the most
Oh, we
Leafsy
still
thing
got a
you could
point,
do.
and I'm pretty sure we're still way ahead of those guys in the standings. Still way ahead of the Sabres too. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, so you're
Yeah.
gonna change the subject now, huh? You're gonna go from the Islanders to the
I'm just
Sabres because
saying.
you know
I'm just
you're
saying.
automatically
I'm
losing this
sure
argument.
one team is 15-6-3, and one is like 10-14-1 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get that. And guess what? The Islanders are only 2 points behind the Leafs in the entire conference. Period. They're only 6 points behind the Rangers for second place, and they're ahead of the Flyers. So what the hell are you trying to tell me that the Islanders aren't any better than what the Leafs are? Like,
I still,
congratulations, you're 15,
I
6, and 5
still, I
with like
still.
three fucking goalies.
You know what, man? We don't need goals. We got all of this offense.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, keep
Well,
telling yourself that.
Well, you know what? I'll keep saying it when we're sitting pretty at fucking first in the East at the end of the year.
yeah.
You are not outblasting Boston or the Rangers. I'm sorry.
We'll see. We'll see. I'll call it here.
Yeah.
You do this shit every year.
Well, with that, we only have about like 5 or 7 minutes left, but I wanted to touch on a couple quick things. So Brad's in the chat again. He said, "Can we mention how gangster Razor was with taking the puck off the face and still on point for commentary?"
Hell yeah.
That was awesome.
Hell yeah.
That was great. So
I expected nothing different from Rob Ray.
yep, Razor still got it. He's still tough as nails.
He's still
And
kicking ass.
yeah, and even the news station is like, rumor has it the puck was treated for a trauma at ECMC. So
At least now with that open scar, he can actually shoot lasers out of it, maybe.
yeah, true story. But actually, I was gonna say, if Luffy jumps back on, this was actually one of the games I wanted to bring up because this was absolutely hilarious. How about towards the end of the Ottawa Florida game the other night, when every single player on the ice with about 7-11 left in the third got a game misconduct?
Well, it's Ottawa.
It's 11 players that got thrown out.
Yeah, I think Fitz is gone at this point.
Yeah, but nah,
Yeah, he's gone.
I just wanted to throw that up there. I mean, that was just absolutely hilarious to see that point. But
Can we
I
talk
mean,
about how much Shohei Ohtani makes more money than the Arizona Coyotes themselves?
yeah. So if anyone hasn't seen what happened with Ohtani this week, he made his decision. Bye-bye to Anaheim and hello to the LA Dodgers, which I know Andy is going to be happy as a pig in shit with this because Shohei Ohtani now has the richest contract in all of pro sports. It's 10 years, 700 million.
Yep, and then he also has some what's it called, conditions in his contract saying like if any of the members of the current Dodgers staff like personnel get relieved from their jobs for any reason, he's gonna automatically end up leaving. He's one of the strictest players I've ever seen in my life in any professional sport. As good as Shohei Ohtani is, I mean, there's literally no question about him whatsoever being this caliber baseball player. I mean, he's the modern Babe Ruth. I mean, yeah, he deserves to get paid, but
Ooh,
700 million. Well, come on, dude.
Richest contract in all of pro sports, man.
His money alone is worth enough for him just by himself to buy at least like 4 or 5 mansions.
Could probably buy a couple private islands on top of it.
Dude, he's so loaded. And so if he
Oh, yeah.
retires tomorrow, he will be set for life.
Hell yeah, he will.
But
yeah, he will.
and speaking of
and
life,
Vanacek
can we
actually
just
made a good save just now too.
yeah, and I also want to just put down my sincere condolences to all of the Washington, D.C. sports fans for the Capitals and the Wizards, because it was just announced this morning, officially 9 a.m., that the Capitals and the Wizards are both going to be moving to Alexandria, Virginia, which is a 20-minute ride outside of D.C.
Yeah, so the site that's going to happen is at Potomac Yards. And guess what, DC? You just spent a ton of money to build a new subway station that opened there this year. So you can still get there. It's only about a 15-minute ride south on the metro. Just take the blue or yellow line. You'll get there. I mean,
Now-
yellow line goes right to the yellow line stops right underneath the Capital One Arena. So same train, just a few more stops. On the
Now,
other side of the river.
Now, do we call them the Washington Capitals or the Virginia Capitals?
Well, remember Washington Capitals played in Landover, Maryland for years before they moved into downtown DC.
Yeah, I get that, but at least in that area, it was still in the state of Maryland.
Yeah, but even still, I mean, Washington D.C. is its own federal district, so
This is true. I completely forgot about that. And the sad thing too is the only team in that region that will still be playing there are the Nationals.
yeah, and they're actually going to make some improvements to the ballpark. So,
Well, I mean,
well,
they've been in
that
the league for almost
they
20
have
years.
their that and Washington. Don't forget they have their Major League Soccer team now that plays in the district. So,
Well, that too. But
so they've got a couple teams still playing in DC. And actually, Katie mentioned one other thing when we were talking about Ohtani. He said Yamamoto is going to be a Red Sox book market.
dude, if I had enough money to feed every homeless person in all of Boston before they signed, what was she saying?
Yamamoto.
Yamamoto, yeah. So if I had enough money to like, if I were able to make enough food for every homeless person in all of Boston before they sign Yamamoto, chances are that would be slim to none. He's probably going to end up going to the Dodgers. And speaking of the Dodgers, supposedly there's a rumor going around that they're on the verge of acquiring Tyler Glasnow from the Tampa Bay Rays.
That'll be interesting to see what happens.
How the fuck are the Dodgers making this much money?
Hey, it's called the luxury tax, man.
Well, that's going to be their problem in 15 years.
Yep.
Because what if Ohtani retires suddenly and then it's like he gets injured and it turns into Bobby Bonilla?
Or another Rick DiPietro situation where you're still paying out
Don't
15 years.
fucking say his name.
Rick DiPietro, man, 15 years.
Fuck you, okay? You.
I still got rubbed that in because that was like the worst contract you guys ever signed.
Yeah, says the team that hired Billy Lano and Christian Ehrhoff.
Well, that was bad enough, but at least we only paid up for 8. So
Yeah, this is true. I will say that. But still, I mean, come on, man. I mean, DP's a great guy all around, but
yeah.
holy shit.
Oh god.
And luckily, too, the Islanders just stopped paying him a few years ago.
right. And
Same with
Kenny,
Alexi Ashen.
yeah. And Kenny actually asked, are we going to do a live after the Sabres game? So what we're going to do, and actually that brings us to our last thing we're going to talk about. Road to 32 Buffalo. So yes, this guy's going to be living with me for 5 days.
Yeah,
just like I lived at his house for 5 days a couple months ago.
Yep, just to watch Shohei Ohtani kick the shit out of the New York Mets.
Yeah, and break a scoreboard. So, but yeah, so what's going to happen? I don't know if we're going to go live after the game, but we will probably do some video during the game.
Yeah.
Just throw it in the Road to 32. Of course, we'll have that up on our YouTube channel after we do all the filming for it. But what we're gonna probably do with it, and Bobby can tell you more about it. It's the Road to 32. It's more of a video vlog of like some of the different things that we see during the trip and different places we go to. So it's something where, I mean, we might not go live right after, but we'll see what happens with it.
But Katie, I will say this. If you have not seen the Road to 32 episodes, just go on YouTube and type in Road to 32 on my channel at Buffalo Bob. And there's like at least 15 videos. There's like multiple of them for hockey. There's multiple of them for football. And there's that one episode with the Mets thus far against the Angels with Shohei Ohtani was at Queens last year. So chances are that they're pretty worthy of your time. So if you have an hour to yourself, do me a favor and, give them a like, give it a comment, whatever, show some support, some love, and that would be great. So, and I bust my ass off every time I make those videos. So that would be appreciated if you could, give it a chance. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but just, take a look at it, give it a shot.
Yep. And she says, got it. So pretty much with that, what'll happen, you're gonna be up in my neck of the woods on Friday, which of course you'll get to meet our original one of our original co-hosts, Vinny Torcasio, when we started the show 3 years ago, or actually 4 years ago now. So we're gonna meet up with him, and then of course you and your friend Millman are going to Toronto with me on Saturday, so we're gonna go up that way. And then of course Sunday's the game. Monday is kind of like our downtime, which if I want to say, to our friend Sophia and her family, keep fighting a good fight. It was good news that you shared earlier this week. We definitely hope to see you in the next few days. We have your Sabres Christmas box here for you, and then of course Tuesday night's the Sabres game. So we're gonna have quite a bit of stuff packed into a few days here.
Yeah, and I should also mention too, really quick, Kate, I think you're gonna really like this, is on my way to Buffalo, Millman and I came to an agreement a few days ago, and we bought tickets, by the way. And we ended up getting tickets to go to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. So we're not going to Buffalo directly yet at that point. So the plan is for me to get out of Long Island. That'll take about 4.5 hours, get out of New York traffic, and then climb all the way up north to the entire state of New York near Albany, and then go to Cooperstown for a couple of hours, use the bathroom, get gas, things like that, and then drive up, go to Cooperstown for a couple of hours, and then drive west for another 3.5 hours to Buffalo.
Yep. So it'll be a good time. And basically, I know your friend Millman's gonna be staying only about like 15 minutes from our place, and then basically from there,
Yeah,
all's good. So
I
nice
should
to
mention Millman is a Cowboys fan.
oh, Godspeed.
Yeah, and now I was actually talking to him today, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm excited to go on this trip. I'm really, really excited. I've never been to an NFL game outside of the state of New
Oh,
York."
he's gonna catch a
And
lot of shit in the upper deck, I will tell you that.
oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, him and his brother were gonna have a good time together. I mean, we're sitting together, but it's gonna be interesting because he said he's drove through Buffalo, but he's never actually stayed in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a nice trip for him. And it might be cold for at least 3 days from when he's gonna be here, but I definitely think that he's gonna be in for a good time. That's for damn sure. And no, I'm excited for it. If I'm being completely honest, I mean,
Yeah.
it is the last Road to 32 trip for the year, but 2024, man, there's going to be a lot to do. We don't know what the future is holding, but we have a lot moving forward for 2024 for Road to 32. There will be plenty of more of those later next year. And yeah, we're excited. But as far as, currently right now as we speak, this would be my first Bills game in 4 years. And the last time I was up here was in 2019 in September.
Yep.
I was there twice. I went in September of 2019 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Tom took us to the home
Yep.
opener at the time.
Yeah, where it was like 94 degrees out at kickoff.
Yeah, I was wearing fucking jeans. Yeah, I was literally
Oh
burning
God.
because I thought it was gonna be cold, late
Yeah.
September and all that
Oh,
jazz.
even same here. I was wearing jeans. And I'm like, holy crap, it's hotter than hell out. So
Yeah, that was probably not the best idea.
yeah, and
But
still sorry to the guy who we set his lawn on fire with a portable grill. So there was that. But
yeah. And then the other time I was there was in November. 5 weeks later, I went back
yep.
in November of 2019, but I was there specifically for the Sabres game. And they played the New York Islanders. And the only reason I was there was because I got invited to go to the game by the Drive for Five Islanders group. And they invited me because they knew me from graphing. And because that's another video I should mention, is I also just published, I don't know if you've seen it yet, Tom, but I also published on my channel about my entire autograph collection of every single team I've ever graphed for within the last 2 years from 10 years ago.
Yeah, I was
So,
just saying, why'd you mark up the ones that you thought were important? Dude, that like detracts the value of the autograph.
what do you mean?
No, I saw it looked like some of them you had like permanent marker marks next to like certain names or something weird.
I know, but at the time I wasn't really looking to sell because a lot of them,
Ah,
a lot of those guys, what I used to graph for, I used to do it for money. So that's why I kept it in a paper board to be a little bit more innocent to myself.
yeah.
But, there were some that had contracts that said they weren't allowed to sign, and there were some that signed, but they were just very douchey about it. Like Carey Price was a douchebag. Sean Thornton, when he was playing for the Bruins, he was a
Mm.
douchebag. Um,
I remember
Roberto
Chris.
Luongo was a douchebag,
Yeah,
even though I mentioned that I never got Vancouver. I did, but I gave that away. So,
yeah. I will say
um,
Chris Gratton when he was playing up here, he was a douche.
I never met Chris Gratton, so I can't really say. But you know what?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if I were to go into the back of KeyBank Center on Monday morning around like quarter to 12, if I'm lucky, and just hang outside and get some graph for the Sabres. So I'm probably gonna go to the Sabre store either way.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it will be open. So it'll be a good time all together. But I mean, it'll be fun. You're gonna be up in my neck of the woods, and you're actually staying just right outside the city where I am. So basically, there's still a lot of stuff that we can do, which is good. And of course, if you guys are in the area, come out to Barbell North
Yeah.
Monday
So
or Friday night. I
So
think.
if you happen to see me, or if anybody who's a follower, feel free to say hi, man. I'm telling you, if you want to meet me, I will be at Bar Bill on Friday night in Buffalo with Tom. I don't know what time, but I'm gonna guess around between 5 and 7:30 in the evening. We're gonna be
Yeah,
at Bar Bill. So he's gonna
yeah.
take me there. He's
I
gonna be
think
like, "Yeah, that's the best fucking wings in the city."
it is good wings, man. I mean, hell, I know Vinny loves that place too. Yeah, so we'll be at Barbell North out in Clarence. So that's where we're gonna go. We're gonna get some wings, beef on whack, all that fun stuff. Well, we'll have a good old time out there.
It
And
would be like a
then-
little welcome. It would be like a little welcome party.
Exactly. Well, I remember last time you were up here like 4 years ago, that one guy ran into you at Imperial Pizza out in South Buffalo that knew you from your old site.
I didn't know what to do at that time. Like I felt bad. I wanted to get his name, but I was like,
Yeah. Dude ran into you in the bathroom with the TVs in the mirror.
no, it's not even that. He didn't meet me in the bathroom. He met me like in the middle of the floor because I didn't know where I was. So he sees me, and then it's like, I know you. You're Sabres Talk. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And so, no, I think it was, either with Sabres Talk 365 or one of our
Yeah.
older groups.
Yeah,
And
I
he
think it
recognized
was.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Sabres Talk.
Yeah, and then he recognized me, and then he's just like, "Hey, can I take a picture with you?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely."
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I had no autographs to give him. I had nothing, so I didn't. I'm just a regular guy, dude. I've always said it. I'm not that special. I'm just a guy on the internet.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but you know what? I would be very happy to meet my fans if I ever get a chance. So if any of you out there who are listening, just a friendly reminder: we will be at Bar Bill in Buffalo around like 5 to like between 5 o'clock, 7:30 ish, in between that span. So if you want to meet me, go right ahead. I'm more than happy to meet you guys. Or if we're at the Bills game, yeah, we'll meet.
Yeah.
We'll let you know where we are, and
or the
you
Sabres
can
game
meet us
Tuesday
there
night.
if you want.
Yeah, or the Sabres game Tuesday night. So we will be there also.
I'm a people's person, so if you want to see me, meet me, and get our graph, get our picture, please do. We would love, we would love to have the company.
Yeah, and it's always a good time. I mean, I've run into a few people here locally, and same thing. Have a quick chat and talk sports and all that fun stuff. So it's always a good time. And really from here, it's just, hey, we have no problem. We're just regular everyday people. We just happen to do this once a week, so that's how it is.
We're basically two idiots who run a podcast on Spotify.
Yeah, and YouTube, and on Facebook, and all's good.
Basically everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, we'll have our good old friend Doug with us on Tuesday night. And if anyone comes up in the 300 level at the KeyBank Center, we'll be in section 301. So yeah, come say hi.
Yeah, and I should also mention, since you just did that, I should mention one more thing. For the Bills game, if anybody wants to meet me and Tom, because we're going to be sitting together, we're going to be in section 337, row 33, seats 31 and 32. So if you want to meet us before the game or in between that section, let us know, man. We'll be at the Bills game. We'll be vlogging. Maybe you might even get an introduction at row 32. I would love to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And Katie said, man, she wishes she could go to Cooperstown to check out the stuff. And she says she has something really special she wants autographed. And then Brad, who's also in the chat, he says, damn it, I'll be back in town 23rd through the 31st. Well, Brad, I'm actually going to be off that week. So if you're up in my neck of the woods, feel free, we'll go for a beer somewhere. We can go to a beer project or something. So yeah, we could always do that. So just, yeah, give me a heads up. Let me know.
I should also mention, if any of you who follow us on the channel, we're going to be at the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto on that Saturday morning. So chances are, if we have any Torontonians on our channel, we'll be at the Hockey Hall of Fame. We just don't know what time yet. We want to say it's going to be between 9:30, 10 o'clock. We'll be there at the gate. We really don't know yet, but that's what we estimately think, because if you consider it, with, traffic and then all that jazz, then chances are that's where we're going to be.
Yeah. Or hell, join us on line 1 in the subway because we're going to be riding from Vaughan. It's about a 45-minute ride. So
yeah, dude. And even more is that if you guys want to graph with me, I'll even show you how. All you have to do is just bring a puck or some pictures or anything you want to get signed, and bring Sharpies, because I will be bringing Sharpies with me on this trip just in case if I run into a Sabres player, because I know the Sabres are very open in that region. Like, I know they're like any other person, but show some respect. Don't be a douche. I used to graph at the Sabres many, many years ago at the Coliseum, so I know what they could do, and they're very, very friendly. I've never graphed with them when I was in Buffalo, so I never got that chance, but I saw somebody do it for Ryan Miller. So I know there was a guy there, and I don't know if he's still alive, or I don't know if he still does it, but there's a guy named Gordon, and he was like my age at the time, and it was snowing, and he was just getting graphs. Ryan Miller was really friendly with him, and then I think Cody Hodgson was there as well, Thomas Vanek, all those guys. I think Jason Pominville was there as well at the time. I really don't remember, but this is like years ago. But you just have to go into the back of KeyBank Center, and then they'll pull up in the cars and say, hey, can you sign this? Or, hey, can you take our picture? And then they probably will gladly do it. So I don't know if it will be applied with Columbus, but there's a lot of hotels in Buffalo, so I really don't know where they're going to be at.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, Katie asked if we get the chance, can we take some pictures of the Bruins Centennial exhibit at the Hockey Hall of Fame and send it to her?
What does she want to do?
She was asking if we can get some pictures of the Bruins Centennial exhibit at the Hall of Fame.
If it's there, I mean, is it?
I don't remember if it was or not. But then the last time we were there was 4 years ago.
I think, Katie, to be fair, I think chances are I'm gonna probably end up if it's there. I mean, I don't know, but if it is, I'll gladly do it for you. But chances are, if I find it, consider it done. It's gonna be in the Road to 32 episode.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. And then Brad ends up mentioning, gives me a heads up. He's like, hell yeah, we'll do that. He said Baseball Hall of Fame is awesome. So definitely right about that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll be off, just so you know, Brad, I will be off the 25th through the 2nd. So yeah, we can definitely grab a beer or something together. That's totally fine. It's I know it's been a few years since I last ran into you. So, you know, that's all good. But yeah, Toronto should be a fun time. So, of course, and then if after the Hall of Fame, you can catch us at Maple Leaf Gardens. We'll be there for a little bit. So we'll be that. We'll just be all around Toronto and probably hit up Niagara Falls afterwards. So, you know, lots of good times here, but it's going to be a good weekend. And it's supposed to be nice out for both days, supposedly. So that's a good thing. And then, you know, we'll just take it from there. And
I actually have a surprise in store for Saturday.
yeah, what's that? You farting in my car again like you did the last couple times you were up here?
Fuck you. No, that's not what I was talking about. I
Say,
actually
you do
know.
that, I'm gonna kill you.
You know what? I already did that in Cincinnati, and you nearly died.
Yeah, it caused me to snort coffee up my nose, you asshole. And then Rob was like, "What the hell's the matter with you?" Because he was in the front seat next to me.
I don't remember what I ate, but it's just like so gassy at that time.
Oh, Jesus. Well, he did that in Kansas City too when he ended up eating at McDonald's, and I had to deal with that for all the way back to Kansas City. It's like a 2-hour ride, but holy Jesus. At least that was a rental car. So that was something different. It's like, but then you're like, oh yeah, I have left my mark in your car permanently. Literally what you're saying. So,
Yeah, in Cincinnati. Oh
yeah.
God. That was funny. I remember that. Good times.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it glorious?
I'm not smelling your ass. It ain't. But, yeah, and then Katie says thanks. So that's where we're at there. But oh man, it'll be a good time though. So
I
mean, looking forward to it. It's first time in Toronto in 4 years, so it's always a fun city to go to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, same thing here. I mean, the last time you went to Toronto was with me, so that's gonna be something for the both of us to enjoy. And plus, we have to get our picture with the cup when we get there.
Yeah, of course, we'll definitely have to do that. And at least on a good note, at least we weren't going to Toronto last weekend because the subway was shut down partially for track work. So,
oh, that sucks.
So yeah, which I did reach out just to double check, and the good thing is that it looks like everything is good for this coming weekend, so there should be no problems.
That's good. It's good to know.
Yeah, that way we don't have to board a damn shuttle bus trying to get back anywhere.
Oh yeah.
So big plus there. But as I say, a few minutes over, but anything else you want to chat about or everything good?
I think that's about it.
Yeah. Oh, and the good thing, TTC just sent me the link to service advisories. There's nothing scheduled for this weekend, so good.
That's a start.
Yeah. And thanks to all the new followers on X too. We're getting a lot of nice little porn bots following us now.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, it's like, hey, okay. They're sending us nice little nudes and stuff like that. They want to follow. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So but then of course Katie's like, have fun, you two crazy knuckleheads.
Thank you. We appreciate
and she
it.
sends a love you symbol, so the heart symbol. So I'm like, oh, thank you, Katie.
Listen, if you're in Buffalo that weekend, come meet me. I'll be glad to take pictures and meet with you and all that stuff. That would be great.
Yeah, there you go. So with that, that's another show. And then of course, with that being said, I will be seeing you in a few days. And then of course, we're gonna start filming the Road to 32 episode, our last one of the year. And in the meantime, just like we always do, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Thanks for the follows on YouTube recently as well. We've seen that go up. And let us know what you think of the new rundown feature we have on there also.
It would be appreciated if you told us.
Yeah, if you like it, if you like us doing that. So yeah, give us a shout. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you next time.
See you soon.